Oh, what's good, family? What's good, IOBA? My name is TC. I'm sitting here listening to some Yvette Carnell uh, from Breaking Brown, and and I like checking out Antonio Moore also, right? So I'm looking at listening to her, and she's talking about reparations. Y'all should go check her channel out. It's just Yvette Carnell, Yvette Carnell, and she is her and Antonio Moore were the original people to come up with the idea of Black Americans identifying ourselves as one, particular ethnic group, which we are, and they called it ADOS, ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Now, Tariq Nasheed has pretty much co-opted that term and turned it into FBA, Foundational Black Americans. But you can use whatever term you want, but it speaks to the people who are the descendants of the American slave system. Right, we the people. We the descendants of the slaves that were held captive here in the United States. Now, I like the way Yvette. I can listen to her whole podcast. She go all the way up, and then She go about halfway through, and then she start taking phone calls and discussing stuff, with her subscribers and that format, the call in. But I like the way she explains things. She always made sense, and she's still making sense. So shout out to Yvette. I know these people got me under some kind of shadow ban, so she'll probably never see my video, but I've been checking her stuff out for a long time. She's always been on point. But as far as reparations go, man, listen. Like I say all the time, it's going to take a while, but we got to keep sticking it in their face. I don't see how we can stop doing that. I don't see how we can stop making that basic demand. I don't think we should ever stop. I already come to grips with the fact that, I may not be around to see it happen, but still, the people behind me got to keep that fight up, because I can't see a better subject for black people in America to get around. You know what I mean? I can't see a better subject, a better fight for us to fight. Because reparations, first it was promised to us right after the Civil War, what happened to the 40 acres and the mule and the $100 or however it was supposed to work. First of all, there's that. First of all, is all that stolen labor and intellectual property, all of the rape, all of the second-class citizenship, all the Jim Crowism, all of that stuff, all the massacres, all the burning down of our establishments and towns and homes and churches, all that, all the systemic racism, all that shit. It's time for somebody to pay for that. It's just basic capitalism. And everybody should know by now the United States does this all the time. Pays people for their damages. The United States does this all the time. And I think that people who ain't from here, black people who ain't from here, or black people who wouldn't qualify, should stay on code and shut the hell up when it comes to our reparations. I say this all the time. Our reparations would lead to your reparations. What is wrong with the people trying to fight their way up from the bottom of the social scale? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. That's how you got to do it. That's how you get out from under everybody's foot. You use your money and you use your power to move yourself up the social ladder, to force legislation through political offices and political bodies. You use your money to buy yourself some politicians. Speaking of politicians, I didn't know that much about Jamaal Bowman. He's a congressman from up in New York, and but I did know that he part of the so-called squad, these so-called progressives that are down in Congress, trying to effect change, real change. Nope, they got him they had him by the short and curlies. To me, when I look back at some of the video they've been showing, I guess he pulled a fire alarm or something to get more time for some vote, make some to delay some vote on some legislation, and he came down on the wrong side of Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. I don't know this politician like that, but from what I'm hearing, he was one of them black politicians who don't want to do anything specifically for black people. He was kind of, representing his white constituents, so he couldn't say or do anything that would help black people, even his own black people in his district. He was one of them kind of guys. He was like when Kamala Harris said, "Do you think I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit black people?" No, he was one of them. And then apparently he got on the wrong side of the Jewish-Palestine issue. And the Jewish lobby, with all of their money, just like I said, that's what you got to do when you get some money. You got to build yourself a really good, strong political action committee so you can make motherfuckers do what you want them to do. The Jewish lobby, AIPAC I think it's called, got together. And they backed a candidate, and they put a whole bunch of money behind that motherfucker. And they ran Jamaal Bowman ass out of office. And they're going to do that again. And they're going to keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore. And if you don't say what they want them to say or do what they want them to do, they will back a candidate and throw a whole bunch of money behind that candidate and just throw all kind of dirt on your name, and out you go. The people just, out you go. People get force-fed all this negative information about you, and you can't fight them back because you got maybe $2 million in your war chest to get out there, and they got $20 million, and they flooding the airways with negative shit about you. You ain't got a chance, and out you go. So that's the whole thing about having a lot of money, because money in this country is speech, and that's the only way you're going to get your message out there. Money is speech. The more money you got, the more speaking you can do. Apparently, just ask Jamaal Bowman. I guess he'll tell you. But yeah, they I saw that early on, right after that conflict started. But don't get it twisted. The Israeli lobby is just as strong as it's always been. And they're going to continue till they finish with whatever it is they got going on over in Palestine. Look a lot like a genocide to me, but I don't want to say that because, I'm just an uneducated brother sitting on the internet talking to a microphone. But look like a genocide to me, to my uneducated eye. But they're going to finish that shit. And ain't nobody going to be able to do anything about it. And that's how that's going to go. They prove every day and every year who run the United States. They prove that every day and every year who runs the United States, and then they dare you to say something about it. That's some gangster shit right there. Man, listen. In this day and age, I couldn't do politics because of stuff like that. Back in the day, my wife used to ask me, back in the day, meaning about 10 years ago, my wife used to ask me why I never ran for councilman or school board or some shit like that. Because I was always considered too pro-black. Even for my local, people, my local in my area where I lived, I was considered too pro-black. Wasn't nobody trying to be blinded by all this blackness. My son even told me that one time. He said I look too much like that nigga on the Olympic poster with my fists up in the air. And I'm like, well, they kind of right, because that's how I am. And if I ever got in somebody's city hall or somebody on somebody's school board, that's the kind of shit I'll be talking. So, yeah. And you know what else? When you run for office, when you enter politics, I guess your life becomes an open book. I ain't got shit to hide from nobody, but that don't mean I want people digging all down into my life either. And the last reason why I don't fuck with politics is because it's all a game. After you reach past a certain level, it's all deal making and compromising. I don't see, too much wrong with deal making and compromising unless you're just not good at it. And a lot of our people just not good at it, and they only thinking of themselves and not thinking of the people they're supposed to be representing. They're only thinking of themselves. Yeah. Now I'm going to speak on this, and this is totally unrelated to what I've been talking about, but at the same time, it's kind of connected. Have y'all been checking out what's going on in Kenya? The country in Africa, Kenya. President Obama, daddy come from Kenya. That's why Kenya and the United States, Kenya and the West in general are so tight. They made some kind of deal. Something's going on. I know they just sent some troops down into Haiti to help with the situation down there. I don't see how they can't do nothing but make it worse, but I digress. But they tearing up their country. They tearing up their country because they having all of these new taxes piled on top of them to pay for these loans and shit that the Kenyan government took from the World Bank, IMF, and China. I mean, did these motherfuckers not see the video Confessions of an Economic Hitman? I mean, people laugh when you talk about that shit, but that's a textbook case right there. Right there. Right there. They loan them so much money until they can't pay it back. Then they refinance the loan at a higher interest rate. And then the Chinese come in and they'll build your shit for you, but they own it if you can't pay for it. And they use all Chinese workers. I mean, how does dude let himself get exploited like this? Because he want to go shopping in Paris, because he want to go shopping in New York, because he want a condo and shit in Miami for his wife when they go on vacation. And they thought they was just going to tax the people to death to pay for these bad decisions. So now the people in Kenya is in the streets. Like I said, did that man not at least hear about that documentary? I mean, everybody knows this is how this system works. How'd he say it? He said you put a country in debt and it's such a big debt that they can't pay, and then they offer to refinance the debt at a higher interest rate, and then they never pay off. Oh, man, listen, it's just a vicious circle that they get you tied up into. And then you got to sell off all your utilities. You got to sell off your electricity. You got to sell off your school system. You got to sell off all of your dams and your ports and everything, trying to pay back the World Bank, the IMF, and all of these other countries that you borrowed money from. And that's how they keep Africa, most of it anyway, under control through debt. I remember somewhere somebody said, you give me control of a country's money and I do not care who makes its laws. Words to that effect. I think that was one of them Rothschild guys said that shit. You give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes her laws. I think that's how it went. Well, they all got control of Kenya's money. So whatever laws they put in place, the people don't give a shit about them because they burning down the parliament. And that's what it takes. And I'm going to leave with this. That's what it takes. Motherfuckers have to get out in the street and make people do what they want them to do. I don't want to see nobody get shot down in the street. Because that's what they doing in Kenya. They firing live ammunition on them. I don't want to see nobody get shot down in the street. But these motherfucking politicians, at home and abroad, have to know that at some point the people just gonna rise up and boot all y'all the hell out of office, and none of your money gonna be worth a damn. Anyway, that's enough for now, y'all. I done rambled on for like 17 minutes. I usually don't go this long, but I'm going on vacation in about 2 weeks, and I ain't gonna be putting up no videos, so I want to get some ideas out. And I want to get some opinions out before I go. Going to Canada. Anyway, I'll let y'all know how that shit is when I get back. Anyway, y'all have a good rest of your day. And I probably won't see y'all no more till next week. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And thank y'all for sitting with me and listening to me ramble. TC, and I'm out. Peace.